4 new cases of the measles confirmed here in Texas. What the state is doing to limit the spread of one of the most contagious viruses in the world. Plus, a new report finds owning a home in Central Texas is becoming harder for families to afford. And there is much more than the price of homes themselves that comes into play. But first, former top U.S. health official Dr. Anthony Fauci appeared again on Capitol Hill. Republicans called him back to grill him over his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Fauci stonewalled, though, repeatedly pleading the fifth. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. I'm Will Dupree. News Nation Washington correspondent Raquel Martin is joining us live now from D.C. And Raquel, from everything I've seen so far about this hearing, this was very contentious.
Hey, well, no doubt there was a lot of drama in today's hearing, which was really a culmination of a years-long investigation led by Republican Senator Rand Paul, who accuses Dr. Fauci of intentionally misleading the public.
I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment.
Dr. Anthony Fauci declined to answer questions from senators more than 100 times Wednesday as he faced sharp questions and personal attacks.
Complete disgrace
From Republican senators over the COVID-19 pandemic.
Security, please remove him from the room.
Senator Rand Paul, who kicked things off by throwing out the doctor's attorney for disruptions, has long accused Fauci of lying to the public about the origins of COVID-19.
He was well aware of a mountain of evidence suggesting the virus originated in the lab.
Republicans also pointed to newly published entries from Fauci's personal diary, accusing him of prioritizing fame over public health.
all because you wanted to be on TV, you wanted to be the sun god of science.
In his opening statement, Fauci fired back, accusing Paul of orchestrating an investigation based on an unhinged obsession.
His repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars.
Democrats blasted Republican attacks.
One-sided investigations designed to validate predetermined conclusions.
Senator Maggie Hassan says the current measles outbreak under the current administration,
more than 4,500 cases of measles,
is evidence of Republican hypocrisy.
Children are dying.
Senator Paul says Dr. Fauci will face consequences for his actions today, but criminal charges may not go far, rather. We know that President Joe Biden, before he left office, actually pardoned Dr. Fauci. We're now in Washington. Raquel Martin, back to you, Will.
Raquel, we know that President Trump is no fan of Dr. Fauci. So is he weighing in at all today about what happened there on Capitol Hill?
Well, bright and early on True Social, we saw the president go after Dr. Fauci. He referred to him as crazy. And then later on, after the hearing, he was asked about the hearing in the Oval Office. President Trump said he watched the entire thing and went on about how he disagreed with Dr. Fauci in many of his policies.
That again is Raquel Martin reporting live for us in D.C. Raquel, thanks so much.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
Well, another very typical late July day for us here in Central Texas with a lot of sun, a few scattered clouds, and plenty of heat. This is the view from Horseshoe Bay Resort looking out over Lake LBJ here this afternoon. Temperatures pretty close to where they were this time yesterday, middle and upper 90s now. I think our high in Austin's going to come in eventually around 98 or 99 when we get the official numbers within the next hour. Still, though, with reasonably high humidity, it feels like triple digits across the vast majority of the reporting sites area-wide. Just a few scattered cumulus clouds, no big deal, and they're not going to amount to any rain, unfortunately, for now. 99 here at 5, 94 at 7, mostly clear, still 90 at 9 tonight. Coming up in first warning weather, temperatures still expected to slowly heat up. It may lead to a weekend storm chance. We'll highlight the day you may just sneak in a little rain or a rumble of thunder as we head into August with a hot start.
Nick, thank you. The state of Texas is warning about a new outbreak of measles. The Department of State Health Services confirmed today 4 cases in Montgomery County, which is home to cities like Conroe and the Woodlands north of Houston. The cases involve members of the same family who are all unvaccinated. Joining us now to discuss more about the situation is Chris Van Duzen from the Texas Department of State Health Services. Chris, welcome to our show and thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Will. Good to be with you.
So these latest cases of the measles, how much is known about how this family all got infected?
Yeah, so what the investigation with the local health department has shown is that there was an individual from out of state who had measles when they came to Texas and visited with these individuals. And so that's how the measles was introduced into this area.
Okay, so how concerning is it that these new cases, these 4 cases, are happening in a much more populous part of Texas, namely after what happened last year when a lot of those cases were focused mostly in West Texas and pretty rural areas?
Yeah, so, any case of measles is concerning because it is such a contagious disease. It's a virus that spreads very, very rapidly to people who are not protected in some way, either from being immunized or from having, a previous measles infection at some point in their life. The good thing, when you look at, kind of comparing Montgomery County to the areas in West Texas where we saw the large outbreak last year, is that immunization rates are much higher in this area, in and around Montgomery County. I was just reviewing some of the data earlier today, and our most recent data for this past school year shows more than 97% of 7th graders have been vaccinated with the MMR vaccine. That's the one that includes the measles vaccine. It's a bit lower, about 92% among kindergartners, but that is considerably higher than what we saw in many of the areas that experienced the outbreak last year. So if you can surround, cases of measles with those people who have that protection, that immunity, it will go a really long way in stopping this outbreak from spreading any further. But that said, there may still be small pockets or in communities or among individuals who aren't vaccinated, and that's where you really run the risk of this, cases of measles spreading from one person to another.
Yeah, that leads me to my next question about what is your level of concern about additional cases possibly popping up now?
We may see that, and then that's really one reason we wanted to put out the health alert and advise people, not just members of the public but healthcare professionals as well, to be looking out for this. We also know that measles is spreading in many places around the country. There are outbreaks in multiple states and in multiple countries around the world, and people are traveling right now. It's the end of summer vacation. We're getting to it anyway, so folks are still visiting family, coming back, getting ready for back to school, and so just something to be aware of as you go and visit other parts of the country. Know what's going on with illnesses like measles in that area. Make sure that you've been protected by making sure that you and your families are up to date on immunizations.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned a moment ago, Chris, the state is asking doctors and the public to stay vigilant about any potential symptoms of the measles. What are some of those signs? What do they include?
Yeah, so they start with some kind of fairly general symptoms, fever, fatigue, those kinds of things for a few days, maybe a sore throat, aches, other kinds of aches. And then after a few days, you get the telltale rash, and that, usually starts around the hairline, kind of spreads down the face, down onto the body. And that's where a lot of people might recognize, okay, this really does look like something at least like measles. But the challenge with measles is that people are infectious really from those initial symptoms. So about 4 days before the rash starts to about 4 days after. So if you know that you've been exposed in some way, or you think you may have been, you're going to want to stay at home during those periods. So if you start to get sick, so that you're not going to spread it to somebody else.
Okay, well, the MMR vaccine, as we've been talking about, is the most effective protection against the measles here. After the outbreak that Texas had, what kind of work is happening to remind people about the safety and availability of the vaccine?
Sure, it's something we do on an ongoing basis, but certainly in the environment we have right now, where we're seeing measles outbreaks in different parts of the country, just want people to know that it's a vaccine with a long track record. We've been giving it for decades and decades, and it is widely available. So you can get it at your doctor's office. Pharmacists can administer it as well. So check with your pharmacist, your doctor, if you haven't been vaccinated before and need to be.
That again is Chris Van Duzen with the Texas Department of State Health Services. Chris, thanks again for talking to us today, and we have much more coverage about this outbreak on our website at KXAN.com. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Will.
All right.
Breaking news from KXAN News.
A deadly crash in South Austin this afternoon. Austin Travis County EMS says a motorcyclist died in a wreck at the I-35 flyover to Ben White Boulevard. According to paramedics, the rider crashed on the flyover and then fell below onto the westbound Ben White service road. Drivers are asked to think about some of the delays that are heavy in this area. Right now, the southbound I-35 ramp to westbound State Highway 71 and the northbound I-35 ramp to westbound State Highway 71 are closed. Closures also apply to the westbound State Highway 71 frontage road there at I-35. Coming up, a new housing report finds just a $100 increase in monthly expenses could push nearly 10,000 more households into financial strain. We will dive into those numbers with a live interview after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks again for being with us on KXAN News at 4. After Tropical Storm Bertha, the Atlantic has turned quiet again. KXAN's chief meteorologist Nick Bannon is here to put the tropics into a bit more perspective for us.
Yeah, so it feels like it's quiet, but I was looking into some of the numbers, and it's actually a fairly average start to the Atlantic hurricane season. Typically, we have 2 named storms in the Atlantic or the Gulf by July 17th. This year, our second named storm came on the 19th. So just 2 days later than normal. But we may be waiting later than average for our third named storm, which is Cristobal. That should be forming by August 3rd, and currently there's no signs of that brewing in the Atlantic. Now, a quick refresher on what NOAA was forecasting for the Atlantic hurricane season. The forecast, 8 to 14 named storms, 3 to 6 hurricanes, and 1 to 3 major hurricanes. And you may remember they're forecasting a below average season because of the impacts of this El Nino that typically causes a lot of wind shear that tears storms up. So where are we so far? Well, just 2 named storms. None of them have been hurricanes or major hurricanes. They've both been tropical storms and both been tropical storms that have affected the Gulf. As far as what's to come as we wrap up July and head into early August, over the next 7 days, no tropical activity is expected. What do we typically see though? Well, usually June and July are actually fairly quiet months in the Atlantic and the Gulf from a tropical perspective. Things usually start ramping up much more as we head into August. That's where more named storms have formed over the years of data that we've collected. But by far our most active month is September. That's the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. Then we head into October, and then it starts to drop off again significantly, and then November is the final month of the Atlantic hurricane season. So the season is still in its infancy right now, so we shouldn't necessarily have had more storms than we've already had, but we're still expecting a below average season overall. You can track the tropics with us on KXAN.com. We've got a tropical tracker where you can keep tabs of the storms that have formed, how strong they have been, and the next names on the list. And maybe you know some of those names and can associate that with some of the names of your friends. I've already got a friend, Kyle, I'm getting ready to annoy him about if we ever get that far in the list later in the season. All right, as far as what's happening outside now from our Austonian weather camera, we've got a lot of sun, just a few clouds. It's another seasonably hot day here in Central Texas and really statewide. Upper 90s now, a few triple digits. We're likely to avoid the triple digits again here for us today before the numbers start to come down again. You can still see, though, by 9 o'clock tonight, we're either side of 90, so it's still going to be a very warm evening, but this is typical for this time of year. And I expect tomorrow will be reasonably typical, too. We'll start in the middle and upper 70s here at 7 in the morning. We'll head into the low 90s by midday. And then tomorrow is going to be right on the edges here of being our first triple-digit day since last Wednesday. We think we've got a good shot of it in Austin, but I think we'll be right on the cusp there. And then we'll be dropping still into the mid-90s at 8 o'clock here tomorrow evening. So slightly hotter here tomorrow, but still nothing unusual for this time of year. Clouds and radar is mostly sunny, just a few fair weather cumulus clouds area-wide. I do anticipate again, much like the last several nights and mornings, that the low clouds will come in overnight and begin our day with a little bit of gray around. Those morning clouds, though, will give way to sun by about 9, 10 o'clock. and then we'll be mostly sunny the rest of the day, with just a few fair weather cumulus clouds in the afternoon. Going into Friday, more of the same, some areas of low clouds early on, and then mostly sunny skies the rest of the day. So tonight we're down to 77, a similar temperature to the one we've been near or at the last few nights. A little bit of a breeze out of the south, 5 to 10, and the evening clear. It's the way late overnight hours into the early morning where some of those low clouds come back. And there we go, triple digits here tomorrow, but it's right on the borderline. If it's 99, clearly it's not a triple-digit day, but we're forecasting 100. That would be our 4th triple-digit day of the year. Should do it again on Friday, and then a weak cold front drops into central Texas or approaches central Texas on Saturday. The approach of a cold front could actually push temperatures up before the front gets here. That's why we're thinking Saturday is going to be the hottest day of the week with 102. There is a chance, a 20% chance now, for a few spotty downpours or storms, especially Saturday afternoon and evening. Those chances drop to 10% on Sunday. The temperatures drop a little bit as well, down to 99, if you can call that a drop. Here's a look at our first warning weather 7-day forecast. Looks like we're back to triple digits on Monday, and then a pair of 99s for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, with rain chances drifting away again as we head into the first full week of August. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for sticking with us here on KXAN News at 4. A new report from Unlock MLS and the Austin Board of Realtors shows that rising housing costs are putting pressure on Central Texas homeowners. We're going to dive much more into this now with Taylor Smith, who is the Deputy Director of Government Affairs for the Austin Board of Realtors. Taylor, welcome back to our show. Thanks for being with us as always.
Thanks for having us.
So what we're talking about today is this Homeowner Affordability Index. This is something new that you all are putting out. Describe what this is exactly.
The Homeowner Affordability Index really quantifies how much strain is being placed on Central Texas households for every $100 that we increase in monthly carrying cost. That includes property taxes, insurance rates, and utilities. And collectively what we found is for every $100 that we increase in that monthly housing cost, about 9,800 Central Texas families are pushed into a 30% cost burden territory, which is the HUD kind of definition of being cost burden.
Okay, what is particularly concerning about that, to see that statistic come to life in this report?
What's concerning with that is it just really, again, quantifies how many households we could push into that territory, and that might have to decide, do they stay in Central Texas or do they move outside of Central Texas? Our research also found that homeowners in moving to Dallas and Houston, about 14 to 15% are actually coming from Austin. And so this report's really trying to shed light on the pressures facing Central Texas homeowners so that we can have collective, more informed decisions when we talk about property taxes or utility rates.
I know that this particular report also included some recommended solutions to address some of that. I want to ask you about that in just a moment, but first talk about why you all wanted to create this index and put that out there and hopefully more regularly in the future.
Of course. Well, we're in the middle of budget season right now across Central Texas for many central cities. And particularly, you can use this tool as a prime example for the city of Austin. And so the budget that the city manager released, if you take the annual increase, that's about $350. So if you take the index, $100 increase, multiply that by 12 months, that gives you about $1,200 before you're forced into that cost burden. So if you take $350 already, that leaves just about $850 for a family of cushion before they're pushed into that cost burden territory. And that alone could come in an insurance increase on your annual bill. And so it's really just, again, highlighting the pressures facing existing housing owners.
I'm sure that that's landing on some of those city leaders' ears as they're preparing that budget and also discussing that too. But your report also looked at how those property taxes and insurance costs and utilities and mortgage payments really contribute to that affordability concern for housing. So which of those costs are really creating the biggest problems for people out there?
Well, what we've seen, the biggest one is homeowners insurance. So in Texas, homeowners insurance has increased 60% since 2019. That's more than double the national average. So that is significantly concerning to us. But then also utility rates. You know, utility providers across Central Texas are midstream in multi-year rate adjustments, and so again, those are fixed costs that homeowners then have to eat each month.
Okay, so let's get to that part about the forward-thinking piece of this. There are some policy recommendations that are included with the report. What are some things that leaders could do to maybe ease some of those burdens?
Yeah. The biggest one is really just taking into consideration the overall impact to the household. And so property tax rate or a utility rate made in isolation really doesn't take into consideration the full impact on households. You know, they have insurance rate increases from school districts, the county, the city, and so really taking a cumulative look at how your portion of the pie might impact households. But then also looking at ways that how can we support homeowners by increasing funding for weatherization programs so that homeowners can have tools to kind of reduce those utility bills. In our research, we also found that about 44% of homeowners nationally have deferred maintenance costs. And if they can't help reduce those utility bills, that's a place that the city can come in or the county can come in to help ease some of those burdens.
Will be interesting to see what maybe emerges from this, if there's some of those ideas will take root and be enacted here locally. But Taylor Smith, thank you so much again for joining us, and we appreciate you being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back after this, so stay with us. KXAN shone a spotlight on the work that Jeanette Valdez-Duran is doing here in Central Texas after we named her the winner of our Remarkable Woman contest just last year. To this day, she is still out and about helping provide food and other resources to people who need it here in our community. And we want to talk more about a special event that she has set for this upcoming weekend. So we want to welcome back here to our show, Jeanette Valdez-Duran. And Jeanette, welcome back. It's always good to see you. You always bring a smile here to the studio, so thank you for bringing that joy too.
Oh, you're welcome, Will. I just want to first thank God for KXAN and for the story that Avery did and for you having us back here to share the great blessings that we have been blessed with within this past year.
Well, we'll talk about that story that Avery Travis did. I mean, she highlighted that your nonprofit, it's a food pantry called Mobile Blessings for the Heart.
From the Heart, yes.
And before we discuss what we're doing on Saturday, what your organization is doing, remind us about some of the updates for your operations and what that looks like right now.
Oh, it's just completely amazing. Right now, we are serving the community. We are serving about up to 500 families every week.
Wow.
And we are just doing some amazing things right now. We have a cooking class that we're having with second graders now. We have 2 schools that we're going to be working with. We also serve the community on Fridays and Saturdays. We have a big back to school event that's coming up. We also have our first annual fundraising dinner for Mobile Blessings from the Heart coming up in October. It's just been such a blessing. We've had some corporations and companies that have reached out to us that are giving back to the community. It's just opening doors for Mobile Blessings from the Heart. It's bringing the community together to receive great things, food for the community, and just amazing things are happening for us. We're just so grateful to y'all.
It is lovely to hear that. And as you're out there working with people, and we hear a lot about how more and more are struggling right now with some of their even basic needs, what is it that you're hearing when you're out there and connecting with people in the community?
The need for this food. It is such a demand. I mean, we have families coming out. We do sign in at 8:30 in the mornings on Fridays, and we are seeing up to 200, about up to 350 families every weekend. And we have a lot of senior citizens, a lot of people that are disabled, a lot of veterans. We have a lot of people that are from different countries. We have a lot of people that are coming out from being incarcerated that are needing this help. And as a nonprofit organization, it's our job to collaborate with other nonprofits to help meet the needs for the community. So it's allow us to partner with other nonprofits to give this information to the community and provide for them. I mean, that's what we're here for, and just trying to give them that faith, that hope, that love, and that welcome community to where we can provide for whatever needs they need.
Yeah, and an assurance that help is there for them if they should need it.
Yes, if they need it, we're going to direct them to where they can receive whatever help that they need.
I want to mention that this Saturday, so that's August 1st, you are planning another giveaway for people Hill. What is going to happen there? What are you planning to do?
Oh, it's going to be amazing. We are going to be serving, giving away backpacks to 400 children with school supplies in them. We want to give a big shout out to Cummings because they are the ones who provided the school supplies and the backpacks, plus they put them together for us. We also have KXAN Services who provided socks and underwear for 400 children. Free haircuts for 400 children. We're giving away hot dogs, chips, water, and snacks for 1,000 families, 1,000 people that are going to come by that we hope, because we want to include the children and the parents. We're also giving books from Book Spring to 500 people in the community, and food distribution as well.
That is a laundry list of things you're able to do with so many, what I hear, great partners out there in the community. To see that support come your way so that you can continue your mission, how does that feel?
It's amazing. I just give God the glory for the doors that he's opening, the people that he's sending our way. I mean, like I said, the story that y'all viewed, it really got us recognized. I mean, we got a proclamation from Council Member Jose Velasquez. We got recognized by the Senator Lulu Flores. I got a phone call from Congressman Lloyd Doggett thanking us of what we're doing in the community on giving back. I mean, it's just been a pouring of blessings, and we're just so blessed and grateful for y'all. Keep sharing good news.
Absolutely, we need it these days.
Yes.
We were showing the details about the event on Saturday, but remind people about where this will be and what they need to know to potentially sign up for that.
It's going to be at 3614 Munson Street, Austin, Texas. Sign-in begins at 10:30 a.m. in the morning. We start the distribution at 11 o'clock. We're going to have Lego DJing some music. We're going to also have ATX Italian Ice giving free Italian ice as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We also have a special guest, Senator Lulu Flores, coming by to meet and greet the community. So if you're able to make it out there, please come out and receive your blessings. Your child does need to be present because we would like for them to pick out their backpacks and get their little haircut and pick out their socks and underwear. But we want all these children and families to know that there is support out here in the community, and we do care, and we work hard to come together to receive this stuff for them to give back. And we don't get paid for any of this. We're doing this from the heart. We're doing it because this is where we're born and raised in East Austin, and we want to give back not just to the community in East Austin, but to the surrounding people in the areas, for anybody that's in need, because that's what we're about, giving back from the heart.
Truly wonderful. Jeanette, thank you again for coming in, and best of luck with what happens on Saturday. I know it's going to go great.
It is.
And hopefully everybody enjoys themselves too.
Thank you, Will, for having us today. God bless you.
Always.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
All right, temperatures seasonably hot in the Hill Country, mid to upper 90s for most of you. Yesterday, Richland Springs got to 100. We'll keep an eye on you closely. You're at 98 right now. We even have some 80s in parts of Gillespie County and Harper. In the metro, similar numbers to this time yesterday, mid to upper 90s with 97 at the airport. Our typically hot sensor in Dale reading 100, but backed up by the fact that Cedar Creek is there as well. Most of you, though, are not quite at triple digits. Just a few fair weather cumulus clouds coming in from roughly south to north out there now. Going into the evening then, we're going to very slowly drop out of the upper 90s into the low 90s here at 9. Still mostly clear, still very warm and humid. Then it's 80s after that, finally 70s by 4 in the morning, and that's how we'll start your day tomorrow, with upper 70s and some areas of low clouds developing, especially in the metro and our eastern counties. We'll track the heat, which is our main story, but also a few spotty storms that could affect your weekend in First Warning Weather.
Nick, thank you. It may not feel like it right now, but fall will be here before we all know it. And for many out there, that brings a new season of allergies.
Where does it come from?
Yes, great question. So fall elm is actually cedar elm, but we tend to see it this time of summer as kind of a later summer, fall start, when we have a dry heat that is sometimes followed by a drench of rain like we've had. We can see a pollen bloom, and so for that reason, we can see an uptick in pollen sensitivity as a result of exposure to that elm. Many times this can overlap with other pollens like ragweed or grass, which is especially prevalent during the summertime. And those who are sensitive can have a lot more symptoms.
And so what are those specific symptoms? Are they similar to the cedar that we see earlier in the year?
Very similar. So pretty much the 4 cardinal symptoms are lots of itching, lots of sneezing, lots of runny nose, and lots of nasal congestion. Sometimes you can also get a little bit of itching in the back of the throat. And if you're prone to lower airway symptoms like asthma, sometimes it can make those symptoms worse. In general, the things you want to start with are the usuals, oral antihistamines, nasal sprays, maybe a saline rinse. And if a lot of those things aren't covering your symptoms well, or if you develop worsening symptoms, you should certainly check in with your healthcare provider.
And so out of all those symptoms, which ones would go from self-medicating to I need to see a professional?
That's a great question. So if those symptoms are progressing to the point where medications aren't able to provide any relief, or a lot of times we tend to blame a lot of other symptoms on allergies like headache or severe cough or shortness of breath, or sometimes a sinus infection actually is brewing there. So I think the main take-home symptom that you want to pay special attention to is if your symptoms aren't really responding to those medications that we usually use for allergies, then you should seek the help of a healthcare professional.
Tommy, thank you. Well, get a look at this. A rare fire whirl, sometimes called a smoke-nado, was spotted as a wildfire burned in central Utah. This video captured Tuesday shows the massive column of smoke spinning above the Widemouth 2 fire. The wildfire has now grown to cover thousands of acres there, prompting evacuation orders for some living in the Millard County area. The U.S. Forest Service says fire whirls happen when rising heat and strong winds create a rotating column of air. While small versions of these are fairly common on wildland fires, larger ones like this are rare and can produce winds similar to a weak or moderate tornado. They can also cause fires to spread more quickly even by throwing burning embers far ahead of those main flames.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
Yikes, a scary sight. You've already got the fire, then now you've got the smoke, and then you've got extra wind, not what you want to see. Just going back to the pollen though, thanks to Tommy's story. Mold is at medium and lowering. We do have a little bit of fall elm here today. It was higher a few days ago. Right now it's low and trending lower. We've got a mostly sunny sky, not just here, but really across Texas where we are rain-free at this hour. We do expect low clouds to come in overnight into tomorrow morning, and that's what we'll start with tomorrow. Many of us a little gray at the beginning of the day. Then as we head through the morning, the clouds lift away, and then it's mostly sunny by late morning through the afternoon again. And then we'll do it again here for Friday with the morning low clouds giving way to some afternoon sunshine. As far as your temperatures tonight, getting down to 77, mostly clear through the evening, and then the low clouds wait until well after midnight to come back. So many of you pretty close to normal for this time of year. Normal is 76 in Austin, and we're forecasting 77. Within a degree of normal, still normal. Mid to upper 70s then for overnight lows. We do think the clouds give way to a mostly sunny sky and slightly hotter temperatures than today. We're going with 100. That would be our 4th triple-digit day of the year. Not all neighborhoods get to 100, but Austin, we think you do, and then many of our eastern counties do, with more 90s than triple digits, though, in the hill country here tomorrow. Temperatures going to be right on the cusp of triple digits or upper 90s again on Friday. Hottest day of the week ahead, as we've been first warning you about several days ago and then repeatedly mentioning it. Still looking at 102 here on Saturday. A little bit of compressional heating ahead of a weak cold front could get us just a little bit hotter. And then the benefits of that cold front you'll feel a little bit on Sunday. Not cold, not even much cooler, but slightly 99, still above average for this time of year here on Sunday. A little bit of humidity changes, not much. We're still oscillating between humid and very humid. Some drier air mixing down to the ground in the afternoon and then becoming more humid overnight. Drier air mixes down again during Friday afternoon. That's why we see the oscillation here. Then Saturday before the front, we're very humid, and then we start to feel more of the benefits of the front on Sunday, which is why we drop back down to the humid category again, and then slightly less humid early next week. I want to talk about those rain chances. They are highest during the second half of the day on Saturday. Just a few spotty downpours and storms possible Saturday late afternoon into Saturday evening. As we get into Sunday, that front starts to slide near or south of the area, taking the rain chances with it, but a spotty shower or storm possible Sunday too, and then we're back to being dry again. These are not rain chances to get that excited about, but the potential is there at least for a spotty shower or storm both days of the weekend. But if any day has a slightly higher chance, it would be Saturday. Here's a look at our first warning weather 7-day forecast. Otherwise, it's a good blend of upper 90s and triple digits. The extended outlook deeper into August through the 12th, likely warmer than normal, but drier than normal during that period.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. A new Reuters Ipsos poll found only 1 in 3 Americans support the U.S. war with Iran. That is compared to the 62% who disapprove of the war. The poll also found 70% of Americans think President Trump has not clearly defined the goals of the war. According to other Reuters polling, approval of the war has remained below 40% since it began back in February. Despite a days-long pause in fighting, strikes between the U.S. and Iran resumed overnight. President Trump has vowed to retaliate against Iran after several of its missiles were intercepted. News Nation Washington correspondent Kristen Eskow explains more.
The pause in fighting in the Iran war appears to be over. Iranian state TV says this video shows missiles being launched toward U.S. military bases in Jordan. U.S. Central Command says the missiles were intercepted, stopping the surprise attack.
All 5 rockets were knocked down to the ground.
President Trump says U.S. forces will respond.
We're going to be hitting them very hard because it's our turn to hit them. They know it's coming.
Our service members are facing down barrage after barrage of Iranian missiles.
Meanwhile, Senate Democrats are continuing their push to try to limit future U.S. military action in Iran.
Last week, Pete Hegseth came back demanding $70 billion for a war that is spiraling out of control and driving gas prices through the roof.
But Senate Majority Leader John Thune argues the U.S. military operation has achieved success.
Most of our members believe that the president is right to, 1, try to end Iran's nuclear program, 2, to end their conventional weapon program that acts as a shield to their nuclear program.
Thune says his colleagues are closely watching the negotiations over commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
Hopefully they'll land an outcome or a solution there in the near future.
CENTCOM says the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect. Officials say U.S. forces have redirected 20 commercial vessels so far, disabling 2 others and boarding 2 separate vessels. Kristen Eskow, News Nation, Washington.
Kristen, thanks so much. The federal government will spend more than $7 billion on the National Cancer Institute this year. That will make the U.S. the largest funder of cancer research in the world. As News Nation Washington correspondent Vinay Simlot explains, researchers say the development of AI and vaccines make this moment a tipping point in the fight against cancer.
It's a lofty goal with results that could affect millions.
We're going for a big win.
Dr. Catherine Wu from the Dana-Farber Institute is studying cancer vaccines, not the ones that prevent cancer like the HPV vaccine. Instead, her focus is on therapeutic vaccines. They try to stop tumors from growing after cancer treatment.
We have actually gotten very good at treating cancers as a first act, but many of our cancer patients are at risk for relapse.
The director of the National Cancer Institute, Dr. Anthony Latai, announced a $200 million public-private partnership to study the therapeutic vaccines.
At the end of about 3 years, we should be able to get a go, no-go signal from each of those clinical trials to tell us which of these technologies is likely to work the best.
The vaccines would target proteins that are only on cancer cells and train the immune system to fight them. And researchers say AI models can speed it up.
Using AI as sort of a new mind, as a co-scientist to generate its own ideas. This is one of these places where I would say watch this space.
Tech leaders say in the future AI will do more.
Early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours.
But it's still in the works.
I think each of the steps there is very logical. it just hasn't been demonstrated yet.
Still, Dr. Wu says cancer research is promising, and in a matter of years, vaccines could help fight against some of the toughest to treat cancers.
I think that in the next year and a half, we're only going to see more of that, whether it's in glioblastoma or in ovarian cancer.
For Investing in America, Vinay Simlat, News Nation, Washington.
As we head to break now, a look at what you can watch tonight on KXAN Plus. That is our free streaming app that you can download on the devices there listed on your screen. The Breckenridge Park Conservancy is teaming up now with the San Antonio Zoo to turn an invasive plant into something useful. The target is golden bamboo, which is spread throughout the park in northeast San Antonio. The bamboo crowds out native plants, changes the soil even, and creates a fire risk when it all dries out. Instead of throwing away the cut bamboo, the zoo will now use it as food for some of its animals and as enrichment to keep them active and engaged. The Conservancy says it expects regrowth, but it hopes consistent work over the next few years will help restore more of the park's native habitat. Thanks again for joining us here this afternoon. We have more after the break, including a new state law that kicks in this Friday and bans the sale of a lot of THC products. KXAN News at 5 starts after this.